What's up, y'all? It's Kai here, back with another read from the Daily Stoic. I missed yesterday. Um, Camera roll, storage full, I guess, so it cut me off short. So I'm gonna be reading day 3 and day 4 of March today. For y'all that don't remember, this book right here by Ryan Holiday, The Daily Stoic, 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living. I did read 3 already, of course. I have not read 4 yet, the 4th day, but I'm gonna be reading for you guys again anyway. So, March 3rd, it's titled Disintegration. And it starts off with Epictetus saying, "These things don't go together. You must be unified. You must be a unified human being, either good or bad. You must diligently work either on your own reasoning or on things out of your control. Take great care with the inside and not what's outside," which is to say, stand with the philosopher or else with the mob. And the more they give on that, the take they give on that is, we're all complicated people. We have multiple sides to ourselves, conflicting wants, desires, and fears. The outside world is no less confusing and contradictory. If we're not careful, all these forces pushing and pulling will eventually tear us apart. We can't live as both Jekyll and Hyde. Not for long, anyways. We have a choice to stand with the philosopher and focus strenuously on the inside, or to behave like a leader of a mob, becoming whatever the crowd needs at a given moment. If we do not focus on our own internal integrations, on self-awareness, we risk external disintegrations. And that's pretty much saying you can't focus on more than one thing that you want to master at a time. Actually, I was listening to a podcast by the Hard Knocks, that guy that goes around interviewing millionaires and billionaires, and he had Myron Golden, another successful entrepreneur and businessman, on there, and he was explaining himself how you have a time where you're focused and a time where you're in balance, and how they both don't mix. So either you're very focused and you're out of balance, like you don't have time for, friends, family, and whatnot, whatever it may be, or you're not focused and you're more balanced, and you're spending time with yourself, with your friends, your hobbies, and whatever it may be. And that kind of made a lot of sense to me. How we get so caught up in wanting to do everything all at once, but when you truly step back and look at it all, you're getting nothing done at the same time. So take time to actually focus on that skill set or that task at hand before you move on to the next. That way you can ensure growth and development in that area that you're wanting to grow in, that you're wanting to develop. But that's March 3rd. Let's get to March 4th. March 4th, it says, "Awareness is freedom. This person is free who lives as they wish, neither compelled nor hindered, nor limited, whose choices aren't hampered, whose desires succeed, and who don't fall into what repels them, who wishes to live in deception, tripped up, mistaken, undisciplined, complaining, in a rut, no one. These are base people who don't live as they wish, and so no base person is free." That was once again Epictetus. And they go further in saying, "It is sad to consider how much time many people spend in the course of a day doing things they have to do. Not necessary obligations like work or family, but the obligations we needlessly accept out of vanity or ignorance. Consider the actions we take in order to impress other people, or the lengths we'll go to fulfill urges or state desires we don't even question." In one of his famous letters, Seneca observes how often powerful people are always slaves to their money, to their possessions, to their mistresses, even, as was legal in Rome, to their slaves. "No slavery is more disgraceful," he equipped, "than one which is self-imposed. We see this slavery all the time. A codependent person who can't help but clean up after a dysfunctional friend, a boss who micromanages employees and sweats every penny. Been there. The countless causes, events, and gets together we're too busy to attend but agree to anyway. Let me rephrase that again. The countless causes, events, and get-togethers we're too busy to attend but agree to go anyway. To take inventory of your obligations from time to time, how many of these are self-imposed? How many of them are truly necessary? Are you as free as you think? You know, that kind of hits deep too. You know, and just off the title itself, awareness is freedom. You know, that's pretty much self-explanatory as well. It's like, if you can really dive into yourself, both your habits and your abilities and your weaknesses and strengths, and you can truly discern on what you're good at and not good at, and who's for you and what's not for you, and, you know, vices and, you know, the opposite of vices, you know, things that benefit you and not help you. If you can truly use your discernment and pick through that and have that awareness, then you can truly be free from it all. You know, you can truly be comfortable within yourself and knowing that I know me, I know what I can do, I know what I have to do, and I know what I don't want to do. And that can be very freeing, you know, and taking the steps and becoming a better person of yourself. Let's see here. It says we see this. It says no slavery is more disgraceful, he equipped, than one which is self-imposed. You know, like, I guess smoking or drinking. And don't get me wrong, you know, we're all human. We're not perfect. I do sometimes have my fair share of indulging in things that I probably shouldn't be indulging in, you know, and that's why I'm here now. I'm trying to become better for myself, and I'm trying to show people that they can also start to become better for themselves. But becoming slave to those indulgences and those vices and that aren't necessarily good for you, even the ones you might think are good for you, like people pleasing, like it's good to be aware that you are doing those things and that you necessarily might not need to, you know. So taking the time to sit back and self-reflect and, you know, self-analyze yourself, but just self-analyze and, you know, actually think about what you're doing and how you're living can be bring a whole new world and, you know, wake yourself up to a whole new world. Like it says, how many of these things, how many of them are truly necessary? You know, how many of those vices that you're indulging in truly necessary? And more often than not, they're probably not necessary. You know, it's just something that's keeping you comfortable. So break free from that, you know, reflect on yourself and help yourself, you know, be better. But that's it for today.